but I started this morning at, I think it was 1:45 California time, 3:45 Washington DC time, so that I could catch a 6 o'clock plane to come home to be here at this meeting. And we took off from Reagan Airport, flying over the Atlantic. It was a beautiful, clear day. And so then we flew over the Appalachian Mountains on a route I'd never really flown before, landed in Detroit before coming on out to LA. So we flew over the breadbasket, the snow caps of the Rockies, the vast Mojave Desert, seeing the Sierras in the distance, and then driving home on the coast route. So I've been coast to coast, sea to sea today.
Wow.
And I'm going to ask everybody to do something a little bit different. Well, as I was flying, I happened to be thinking of the conversations. I was in Washington, D.C. on city business. City's a member of the Regional Defense Partnership for the 21st Century.
This is Mayor Charlotte
And that
Corrigan.
is a group of cities and the county, people who are retired from the military bases, and the activity, many of the tenant activities out at the base, working to keep our base, working to increase the number of tenant commands out there, working to bring more tenant commands in, and to strengthen each of the tenant commands that are currently out there. And so in 2 days, we visited a lot of offices on Capitol Hill and in the Pentagon and in various government offices in between. And at every single one of them, the message to us was the same, that in the past 10 years, it has become, the American political system has become more and more polarized.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter who's in charge, it's practically impossible to get anything done that these people, at least, all defense people, thought was necessary to get done because of the various projects that the administrations want to get done. And the polarization message just kept coming home to us, or being talked about to us. And so with all of those rambling thoughts in mind, I'd like everybody to stand and sing with me a song that Kate Smith made popular, God Bless America.
Okay.
And then please remain standing, and I will ask after that,
Wow, this
Mrs.
is nice.
McDonald, to please
This is pretty
lead us in
nice.
the pledge to the flag.
This is pretty nice.
Sing.
Okay. God bless America, and that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Amen.
Gosh.
Okay, now we take public comments. We have quite a few people here who might not have been at Camarillo City Council when we've had public comments before. So I'm going to explain to you what our rules are for public comments. Each person will have 3 minutes, and I have a lot of people who want to speak, so I will hold each and every person to the same 3-minute limit. That way nobody's going to get extra time or favoritism. At the end, I can see a clock and you can see a clock. There'll be a little green light on when you first start talking. We ask you to state your name clearly so that the people at home can tell who you are, and so that it'll be there for the record. This is recorded and can be played again. As the time winds down, it'll get to a minute, and there will be a tone sounds. The little light will turn yellow, and then when it gets down to 0, a red light will come on, and the sound. And as I always say, if you don't stop, then the floor just opens and you go down and the next person can come on. In addition to that, we don't allow people to clap. We don't allow people to boo. We are here to hear what everybody wants to tell us. We don't want anybody to feel intimidated in telling us how they feel, because we're here to hear how all the people of Camarillo feel. So with those rules, I'll call the first person, Tony Doltz.
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Tony Doltz. I'm a foreign-born naturalized citizen. And I have 2 minor children. Governor Brown signed SB 54. SB 54 is a new law that makes it illegal for local law enforcement to turn over criminal illegal aliens to the federal government. Since the new law, criminal illegal aliens with no legal right to live or work in the United States are let loose onto our streets where they may do us harm. The federal government has sued California over SB 54, alleging that it is unconstitutional. Many cities and counties agree and have filed amicus briefs, such as Simi Valley. I ask you to put on the agenda a motion for a stay of enforcement until the courts rule on SB 54's constitutionality. Your failure to act has put us in danger since SB 54 became law, in my opinion. Failure to vote on a stay of enforcement forces armed federal agents to ferret out these dangerous criminal illegal aliens openly in the streets, which will inevitably lead to violent altercations, injury, or death of federal agents, innocents in the community, and the illegal aliens themselves. Why would you consent to SB 54 tying the hands of local law enforcement, especially as it represents an unnecessary public safety danger? Do not delay. Put on the agenda a motion for a stay of enforcement. Beginning today, city residents will launch a website and Facebook page entitled SB 54 First Victim. The first Camarillo victim at the hands of a criminal illegal alien released on the SB 54 will reflect on you. These social media sites will inform the residents of your courage to defend us and or your failure to act. On these pages, we will honor the first victim and the victim's family and disclose what role each of the SB 54 public scrutiny and accountability. www.sb54firstvictim.com /SB54 First Victim.
Next is Schaefer, I think it is.
That's fine. Yes, my name is Arthur Schopper. I'm a resident of Torrance, California from Los Angeles County. I'm here supporting the City of Camarillo and their proud residents who have shown great courage and determination to be here to pressure and inform you of your need to opt out of Senate Bill 54. Each of you took an oath to uphold and defend the United States Constitution. Senate Bill 54, so-called sanctuary state law, is patently unconstitutional. It violates Article 1, Section 8, which speaks to the enumeration powers. The federal government has immigration powers, and the state cannot intervene with that. It also violates Article 4, Section 4. The United States government must provide a Republican form of government and protect each state from foreign invasion. The state law is inviting invasion, telling criminals that they can come to this state illegally and be protected from ICE. Last of all, it violates Article 6, Section 2. That is the Supremacy Clause. Supreme law of the land is the United States Constitution, and SB 54 clearly violates that, taking a power away which belongs to the federal government per Article 1, Section 8. It also violates federal law, which requires state, county, and local law enforcement officials to communicate with ICE and other federal agencies. This law has precluded local and county enforcement from working with DHS and other federal agencies to stop drug trafficking and human trafficking, as well as to ensure the safety of our communities. LA County Sheriff Jim McDonnell sacrificed great political capital. He opposes Senate Bill 54. Now, I respect Sheriff Jeff Dean of Ventura County, yet his brothers and sisters throughout the state, per the California Sheriff's Association, have declared official opposition to Senate Bill 54, even after its passage. Side with your law enforcement throughout the state, as well as in your county and in your cities. Now, I recognize that this city council took the bold measure. You issued a letter opposing the bill. You now have a responsibility per your oath of office to oppose this unconstitutional act. You have at least three options. First, pass a resolution opposing Senate Bill 54. Second, file an amicus brief joining with the City of Huntington Beach and their lawsuit. They are actually suing the state directly, not an amicus through the DOJ. You also can file an amicus or a joinder with your sister city, Simi Valley. Last of all, you have the legal authority, your city attorney can inform you, to issue a stay of enforcement or a stay of compliance. The city of Orange did exactly that. And what it states is simply this: because the state law is in conflict with federal law, the city has no choice but for the time being to still side with federal law until the courts have finally settled this issue. You have an opportunity and a responsibility per your oaths of office. Oppose SB 54, protect your police, protect your community, and let's make California great again, constitutional again. Thank you.
George Miller. George Miller. Mandy or Mandy Jacob. Yeah, pull it right down so you can speak right into it.
Okay, thank you. City Council members, thank you so much for letting me speak to you and address you tonight. My name is Mandy Jacob. I'm a resident of Ventura County. I myself am a legal immigrant and ran an immigration company for over a decade. And SB 54 is obviously close to my heart on a financial level, economic level, personal level, and business level. There are many reasons why this is obviously illegal, and my co-partners over here, or speakers, have dealt with the illegal issue. But there are other things that I'd like to tell you about, which will really make you individually liable. If you're familiar with a group called Fight Sanctuary City, they've actually issued a brief now that will pierce the corporate veil of the city council in any form of sovereignty. So in actual fact, each member in the city council is now going to be responsible for the decision you've made. There are websites out there that are logging which city council member voted for or against SB 54, but this is actually a legal brief. So that even if you, which I'm sure you won't, discard your oath, there are ramifications for actually not going ahead with SB 54. Again, you know, as the fallen angels, their parents hear about this and families, there's going to be a second issue now with them potentially being able to file lawsuits against the individual. So that's just something that is really pertinent information that I think you need to know besides all the legal information. Again, going back to the Ventura County Sheriff, Jim McDonald from LA County stated something which I think is so important, because there are many people who are for SB 54, and those people I feel like haven't actually read it. SB 54 is not an immigration issue, and this is actually what Jim McDonald said. I'm opposed to SB 54 based on the future security and safety issues. This is regardless of any immigration issues. And this is a really important point, because I know the people that are for SB 54 keep bringing up the issue that we have to love illegal aliens, and that is absolutely an option, but this is not about illegal aliens. This is about felons being back on our streets. And the final thing, I'd love to give you a statistic from SCAAP, S-C-A-A-P, 2016. They actually are the bureau that receives the state of California's numbers of the illegal immigrants in the jail so that they can get refunded from the Fed. And they have a statistic here. Just in 2016, there were 52,000 illegal immigrants in the jail system. So if you do the math based on the California residents, okay. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I need a question.
Harold.
Question. On your stats, on those people in state custody and federal custody, you show us a total, because I think I know what the total is, but what do you have?
No, I only have for the state of California.
Okay, what do you have for state of California?
52,000.
No, percentage-wise of prisoners in custody.
Oh, I don't have that statistic, sorry. What I was going to say is, if you work out the statistic.
31%. Not saying as if.
Oh, so you have it. Okay, I was gonna do it based on the inhabitants.
Okay.
You've got it. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you
It's
so much.
insane.
Harold Wasserman?
It should be 0. It should be 0%. 31. It's ridiculous.
My name is Harold Wasserman. I live here in Camarillo, not Camarillo. And I'm not here to threaten you guys with anything. I'm actually here to praise somebody. You have an employee named John Frazier, who is a genius. I was having terrible, extremely expensive problems with Frontier communication. My phones were out 3 weeks in a row, and they said, don't worry, we can in 12 days. Call
Well,
John.
they didn't want to hear from you again.
You call during the 12 days, because they have a very good kind of music you can listen to while you're on hold. And I talked to John, and I said, today's my birthday, April 3rd. They told me it will be 12 days from that point until they could have somebody come out and give me my phone service and my internet back. He said, that's ridiculous. 42 minutes later, a truck pulled up. It took Frontier, and I'm not kidding you, 7 or 8 minutes to fix the problem. But they were perfectly willing to let me wait 12 days. Now, my phones had already been out for, I'm guessing, 2.5 weeks. And my internet. And this guy came through, and then they fixed it, and they went out again 3 days later, I think. I called them, they said, same thing. I called him, and within an hour they were back, and they fixed it. And now Spectrum is my new provider. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, even for that, we don't allow clapping.
Oh, well.
Jean Coha,
There you
maybe
go.
I pronounced it wrong.
Nope, that's right. You
Okay.
pronounced it correct. Thank you.
Gene Cohut. Okay. Got it.
Thank you for letting me speak. I just want to quote an article, as well as I remember it, from the Ventura County Star on Monday. Evidently, ICE had a raid from Los Angeles through Ventura and Santa Barbara County. They rounded up 200 illegal aliens. Some of the crimes listed were incest, child cruelty, rape, robbery, attempted murder, illegal possession of firearms, drugs. The list goes on. I can't even remember. It was a long list. 4 of those arrested were here in Camarillo. So if we think that our beautiful, lovely, clean city that is basically free of graffiti, basically free of trash in the streets and everything else and violent crime, that it can't happen here, it can happen here. If we think for a minute that all of the illegal aliens are going to stay in the cities that have opted out, that have become part of the lawsuit, that have taken action themselves, if we think they're going to stay there where they're not protected anymore, I think we're going to be wrong, and we're going to be very sorry. And I would like our city council to please consider the gravity of the situation and put it on the agenda so that we can actually get some action and not just have to keep coming back here and repeating ourselves over and over again about the threat of criminal illegal aliens. These are not people shoplifting in Target. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Nedra Kendi?
Council members, my name is Nedra Kendi, and I will make it very short. I'm simply here to urge you to refrain from backing this SB 54. Number one, it's illegal. It is against our Constitution. Our country runs by the Constitution. And if every state decided they were going to opt out of what they decided they didn't want to back, it would be chaos. The Supremacy Clause says in the Constitution that the federal government takes precedence over the state. But somehow California doesn't recognize that. That's all I simply want to say. I would urge you to take a stand against
Jeff, is it Burrow?
Bureau. Bureau.
Oh.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, distinguished council members. I agree. God bless you, and God bless all of us. You know, we are in historic times right now. I feel like it's almost the Alamo, or, you know, the bear flag being raised during statehood in order to secede from Mexico.
Yes.
So let's just realize the big picture of where in this country. California is the worst offender. 28% come here. By far, we're the worst offender. All right? They come here, and some of them are MS-13. Now, I've heard numerous thousands of deaths from MS-13, but what I think is significant is 30,000 of them are in 40 states. 2,000 of them are right in Los Angeles. All right? So you've got SB 54. It says, no, our local law enforcement cannot work with federal agencies to control illegal aliens. It said that. Then we've got HR 3697 that says you can't even deport them. Then you have motor voter that says, oh, let's register these people. And by the way, we had voter fraud in the last election. 11 counties had more votes than registration. Well, what do you think the whole purpose of this invasion of illegal aliens?
Yep.
Indoctrinate them by giving them DACA. Right? So what we've got is an illegal, bloodless invasion. And some people will say it's not bloodless, but it is an invasion. And then you put it all together, when they vote, guess what they want? Secession. And that is what this is all about. And you can go on and talk about how SB 54 is unconstitutional, it's illegal, it's moral, it's all of those things. But they don't care. Because the goal is secession, and when you take away all those other things, nothing else matters. So I'm asking you to take a stand right now. Nip it in the bud. Stop this, stop motor voter, and anything else that will close off our borders and protect our people, which is your oath.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Thank you.
Ron Kester?
Jeff Urim is running for Congress for the 26th Congressional District, and I support
Could I go at the end? I don't
Sure.
like the continuity of the other discussion.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with that.
Manuela Walter?
Oh, yeah, I got one already. I'll get another one.
The primary functions of government is the public safety of its citizens. By passing Senate Bill 54, the sanctuary state law, the California legislature has put us all at risk. But what's new? The California legislature is more concerned about aiding illegal aliens than they are about protecting law-abiding American citizens. One of the more egregious examples of this is SB 54. We cannot continue to allow the Sacramento politicians to risk the safety and lives of our law enforcement officers and citizens. The Camarillo City Council submitted a letter to the governor last May in opposition to SB 54, and I applaud you for that. Now is the time to take the next step and join the growing number of cities and counties, including Simi Valley just this week, who are challenging this unconstitutional law. Please put opt-out SB 54 on your May 9th City Council agenda and show our community, county, and state that you support the rule of law and the rights and safety of our legal residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Lois Glab? And when you come up, if the microphone is a little high, it's really movable, so just pull it down so you can speak right into it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lois Glab, and I'm a Navy pilot's widow and a retired teacher. And I've heard all these arguments tonight, but I guess I'm thinking of my frugal husband, and the reason he would be opposed to this is because it's going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money. All these people are coming from the other 49 states. They will need housing, they have to be fed and receive medical care, and the children have to be educated. Who's going to pay for all this? The citizens of California. And if the taxes aren't high enough, you know Sacramento is going to raise taxes, and so we're all going to be hurting. And really, California is becoming like a third world country these days. My daughter and I were driving to LA. We were hit by a car. She went back and looked at it, the damage, and they rolled down the window. She was almost asphyxiated by the marijuana. We called the police, and the police said, I can't cite them because marijuana is legal in California, and the driver did not have insurance. Scot-free. You know, nobody pays any attention to laws anymore. And that is why I am moving to Nevada. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay? Herb Waller?
Try to stay and fight. I'm not going anywhere.
Good evening, Council.
Neither am I.
My name is Herb Holler. I'm an immigrant. I immigrated from New York City. 1970. And my parents immigrated from Europe via Ellis Island, way back in the ancient ages. I believe in immigration, I believe in the rule of law, and I think honor the same laws and enforce them. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Sally Budd.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Many people who come to California are not in the traditional sense. Many are gang members and criminals. We, the law-abiding citizens of the U.S., already have to deal with juvenile delinquents, violent homeless people, adult criminals. Do we really need another group who weren't even born here to add to our fears? As a citizen, I am entitled to the rights and privileges of a free man who owes allegiance to a government and is entitled to protection from it. That definition does not apply to an illegal. Why would any of us feel safe in sanctuary cities? That is making us sitting ducks. Is this how our government protects us? It feels like a crapshoot to go out in your own neighborhood. When one of your own becomes a victim, it will be too late. What are we waiting for?
Bruce Boyer.
He just went out. He's went out to the restroom, I guess.
He'll be back.
Hector Moreno.
Here he is.
You'll be next, Mr. Boyer.
No, go ahead, Hector.
Sorry.
Hector, go ahead. And then Bruce will go after you.
Oh.
Mr. Bruce is here, right? He can go ahead and do it, and then I'll go after.
Go ahead, I'll go after you. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Bruce.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you. Good evening, Mayor and all the City Council members. My name is Jose Hector Moreno. I came also from Mexico, but I came the right way. I took my time, applied for the residency. It took me time, but at the end they gave it to me. Thank God for that. I became a U.S. citizen in '96. I'm a naturalized U.S. citizen.
Great.
And I do stand for law and order. I'm not against immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. They have no right to be in the United States. They cannot prove their presence in the United States legally. Our elected officials are actually putting us in danger to all the citizens of the United States with these people, especially the ones that are coming again. They're coming 1,500 people, a caravan of illegal aliens, that they take it for granted that the elected officials in California are just gonna open the border for them. And they're gonna be putting them on our shoulders again they're gonna be costing us billions and billions of dollars, which could go to our own American citizens, to our own children, to our own citizens. How can they do that to us? Why can they do the right thing and not follow this unconstitutional SB 54 sanctuary state law? The sanctuary state law is supposed to be done for sanctuary for the U.S. citizens to protect us. That is their duty. When they took office, they did the oath. They took the oath to protect us, the oath of office, to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And why are our officials doing the opposite? Why are they against the United States citizens? You're putting us all in danger. No, that is the wrong thing to do. Stand by law and order. Stand against it. I compel you to do it. I exhort you to go ahead and do the right thing. Stand on the right side of the law. You cannot be being our elected official. We put you there where you're at. We, the citizens of the United States, not the illegal aliens. They cannot do nothing like that. They don't have the right, not even to be here. They're breaking the law when they jump the fence, federal immigration laws. They break the law with their fake IDs. They're also counterfeits. They break the law when they steal the Social Security numbers of U.S. citizens. They're breaking all kinds of laws.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
Thank you.
Bruce Boyer.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Boyer. I'm candidate for sheriff here in Ventura County. I think the legal situation has been well and made clear. You know your oaths of office. So what I'd like to talk to you about are some of the other consequences, maybe the ugly or unpleasant side. This invasion is a bloodbath. Just today in Sacramento, the sentencing hearing for an evil vermin, illegal alien, been deported twice, after which he returned to this state and he murdered 2 peace officers in Northern California. And when I'm in Thousand Oaks and I heard Chief Hagel of the Ventura Sheriff Department be quoted to say, there is no adverse effect on crime with sanctioned state, I go, one of us is obviously doing drugs or lying. Upwards of 30,000 Americans have been murdered, killed by people in this country illegally. This isn't invasion. Sanctuary state, right now we have 100,000 illegal alien adults in Ventura County. If we don't stop sanctuary, 30% of the people in state prisons, depending upon how they want to count them. Now the numbers are getting hard to count because people like Sheriff Dean, that you write a check to, will not release numbers. So here's some solutions. The Sheriff's Department is getting a check from the taxpayers of Camarillo. It is not to be in rebellion, and it is not to ignore the law. These 58 elected sheriffs, on their own, can defeat sanctuary state. Tomorrow morning, Sheriff Dean could say, I am not going to comply with sanctuary state. It is rebellion. I'm going to turn every illegal alien over to ICE. And what's Becerra going to do about it? Well, he doesn't have the guts to do that. That's why I'm running for sheriff. What he is willing to do is risk the lives of his law enforcement officers who will be killed fighting this invasion to protect us. And I'm sorry, I'm not interested in being a statistic on a website. I don't want my kids to be statistics on websites, neither do you. Now maybe somebody thinks they can sit behind a big old safe desk, but the rest of us are out here on the streets. No, this cowboy's not going to be a victim. Let's put you Sheriff Dean telling
Howdy.
How's our former employee?
Yeah, great.
Like,
Happy. Mayor and council, my name's Daniel Long. I've been living in the city of Camarillo since April of 1975. I have only one question for the council, and that is, when will the council make a legal decision on their stand to disavow SB 54? Okay, thank you.
Roger, is it Alves?
Helps.
I'm sorry, Alves.
That's okay. Good evening. My name is Roger Alves, and my wife and I have had a company here in Ventura County for 38 years, going on 39. A couple of you know us. We employ 150 people in Oxnard, primarily in consumer electronics. And we've been navigating California's legislation for a lot of years. One of the things we're particularly proud of is our employee base, how they've been able to grow their families, how they've been able to prosper with us. All nationalities. We have, come by our place, you'll see so many nationalities from around the world, many Hispanics. 2 of them last year were proud to become American citizens. All our employees are legal, but this new Proposition 54, or Bill 54, has a provision in it that we're not allowed to allow federal agents, ICE or FBI, to come into our building. Now somehow we're supposed to stop them if they want to come in. They're supposed to have a warrant. So if they're chasing one of these illegal federal criminals, how are we supposed to stop that? So oftentimes the criminals know the laws more than we do. So some of the references made here about being a bloodbath and MS-13, they figured out, I can go hide in that company away from who's chasing me. How do we protect our employees? Picture of Walmart or a McDonald's and them figuring that out. So I implore you to sue the state against this bill on behalf of all our employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Savaya?
Savala, it's the
Savala.
Italian spelling.
Sorry.
That's all right, thank you. Thank you first for your service. The last time I was here was for Constitution Week, and I'll be back again for that. And I was proud to note that Camarillo was the first city last year to do something to acknowledge our Constitution in a very public way, and they were the very first. Now, with SB 54, you won't be the first because Simi Valley already did that on Monday, but you certainly can be putting on your agenda for next week, or for the 9th of May. There are 13 stripes. There are 50 white stars on a blue background. Which star is California? We don't know. We're not supposed to know because we are the United States of America. We are not California of the United States. That said, I've heard and read that Thousand Oaks said that it's not their business because immigration is a federal purview. The reality is that when California passed SB 54 and the governor signed it, they made it the local issue because they were doing something unconstitutional. And the fact that they have gone up against their oaths of office does not mean that any of the others have to follow suit. So I implore you, please, honor your Constitution like you did last year, and like I hope you'll do again this year, and honor your citizens and protect us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Matthew Lorma?
Good evening. I have 3 comments. You know, your public servants, I talked about conflict of interest about Ms. Craven. You know, you went to a Habitat event. It's a conflict of interest when you voted for that for $100,000 for a nonprofit. No councilman should be voting for any kind of money for any nonprofit or anything if they're going to events raising money. It's wrong, plain wrong. And that's why you believe in term limits. Go to the farmer's market. You can sign at 8 to 12. The next thing I want to talk about is MAD. April 21st, 2018, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You know, we lost an officer a few years ago. The city hands out permits for alcohol all the time. What I'm asking for the city council to do is put on the agenda, we need 5 more sobriety checkpoints a year in the city. You know, DUIs are unacceptable. It seems to be a trend. It's wrong. And it's time that the city council add additional sobriety checkpoints, 5 more a year. It should be on the agenda. It's unacceptable. The fact is that people drinking and driving, each generation doesn't know the boundaries and needs to be constantly reminded. It's your job, your public servants. It's time to act before it gets worse. The next thing I want to talk about is Sanctuary City. This is about basically the rule of law. You know something? If you commit a crime and something happens, you're supposed to take care of it. But our sheriffs, you have a contract with the sheriff's department. Basically what it says is they're not going to do anything about it because the governor has decided not to enforce the law. And you know something? It's wrong. That's what this is really about. It's the fact is, I don't think people are against other people moving to this country. That's what this country's about. It's a great country. But when you commit a crime, that's why we hire officers. and they need to uphold the law. But when a governor decides to decide for everybody that we're not gonna follow the law because he wants new voters on the roll, it's wrong. That's not the way this country works. And you know something? The people in the audience are here tonight because they're tired of it. They don't want crime in their neighborhoods. And across California, it's absolutely wrong that basically the governor's decided that we're not going to enforce the law, and therefore that's where we're at. You're a city council. You need to have backbone, and you need to put it on your agenda. Whether you're for or against it, you need to put it on the agenda. The people don't want sanctuary cities, and it's time for you to take a stand. The people here have asked for you to put it on the agenda. It's time you grow up and put it on the agenda. No more excuses, no more waiting weeks. It's up to you. You were voted in office, and it's time to take that action. Put it on the agenda, and let's hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Gloria Massey Chenea.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Gloria Massey Chenea, and I'm a citizen of California, naturally, and the County of Ventura. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for hearing what I have to say. I'd like to share that, as you know, the Constitution is our GPS, correct? So let's do an exercise. We have 10 fingers. 5 fingers, move them 5 times tells us that we have the right to vote. In 4 different amendments in our Constitution, and it's for you and for me. So it gives us 10 times, 10 fingers, and we use them 5 times to vote 4 amendments for you and for me. It is our GPS. Many of you know what Election Integrity Project California is all about. Election Integrity Project is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3. EIP has a place in your desk, in your home, at the table. Everyone needs to be aware of Election Integrity Project California. Everyone in Ventura County should be involved with Election Integrity Project, because what we are wanting is fair and honest elections. So without free and fair and honest elections, all desks will disappear and all tables will disappear. Call my number, 805-236-6622.
Very bad connection. Take care. I'm gonna have another video up later. You'll see everything.
People are moving back into their homes.